Welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. That is the R in the RK Stumblingbear, and I'm a reader and a writer. And I am back to do basically my summer book haul. So this does include May, June, July, and August. My book buying, I think, has kind of slowed down, which is a good thing. Here we go. The first book I bought in May was How to Do Nothing by Jenny Odell. This is Resisting the Attention Economy. And I've just looked into it a little bit. I had gotten it out from the library previously. I was like, yeah, this is something I'm interested in reading more on my own time. And I do know that there's a group of booktubers who are slow reading it. I just haven't actually picked it up to continue at this point. I will. Then as an audiobook, I got Black AF History by Marco Harriet. My Audible credit came due, and I like getting nonfiction to listen to. And then in June, I also picked up the Audible for Ghost Soldiers, which is on my explodable list. And I know that I have a physical copy here, but I was kind of thinking that maybe I'd be able to get through this a little bit faster, because it's a pretty short book, or it's a pretty short audiobook. I started listening to it and I just haven't continued at this point. But, trying to get this read so I know if I want to keep it or not. Also in June, I got the 3 finalists that I had not read previously for the self-published science fiction contest. And those were On Impulse by Heather Texley, Bisection by Sheila Janae, and Accidental Intelligence by Brian Chaffin. I have read all 3 of those. In June, I got The Doomsday Book by Connie Willis. I think this is actually the one that was late, and The Left Hand of Darkness, which will come up, was on time. But I got this. And I think this is first in her Time Traveler series. I'm not a huge fan of time travel, but I'm interested in the historical fiction aspect of this sci-fi. Then from the book binding, or from the broken binding, I always forget what it is, I got a pretty book. I got The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula Le Guin. That is added to my shelf. I think this is also on my 50 to read before I turn 50, because it's a very well-known science fiction book that I just haven't read yet. And this one came to me in July, which I think it was running a little bit late. I don't know. The broken binding's doing like a mix-up. Sometimes it's a series and sometimes it's individual books of what they do. I'm enjoying my subscription box. And then for another audiobook credit, I got Gentlemen of Uncertain Fortune, because in July I started listening to Love and Marriage in Jane Austen. It's by the same author. I'm enjoying that history. And so I will, once I finish Love and Marriage, dive further into what was going on for men who weren't heirs or lots of money. And that's by Rory Murr. And that brings us to August. Like I said, not getting as many books. And then here in August, I picked up recently Kalna the Soothsayer by Justin Kinch Spector. All I know is this is a fantasy, but it's been on my want to read list for a while, and so I found it a used copy, and I was like, yeah, let's just get it, put it on my shelf, hopefully get it picked up faster. And then I picked up The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst, which is on my priority reads for new releases. This came out in July, and I had started it, but my copy had to go back to the library, and as I was beginning to read this, I'm like, this is a book that I'm just going to want for myself. I should just buy it. I already own the Spell Shop. I might as well just have the nice, pretty set. And then from the broken binding, I got in The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell. And I know this is also one that won the Hugos years ago. It's not that old, even though for some reason it just strikes me as older. But I think it's also my 50 to read before I turn 50. So another very pretty copy I have in. And then the last book that I got was another audiobook, and I got Empire of AI by Karen Howe. And I picked this up because I was looking for a nonfiction audiobook, and I normally start with the most recent that I can find that would actually save me money with the Audible credit. And I had recently heard a talk on Margaret Bernard's channel. In August, she was doing Agitation August, and this was one of the book discussions. Sounded interesting. I was like, all right, I want to pick that up. That has been my book haul for May, June, July, and August. If you have read any of these books, I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions. Thank you, and have a great day.